Let's bring in Jenna, who we've put in a bridal gown for this, because this ethereal feeling, it just kind of works so well with bridal. Wow, she's just glowing and floating in. Perfect. I'll have you right here in the middle of that backdrop. Good. And just like we did before, let's see where we're at on this. Come this way a little bit, Jenna. Perfect. And lovely. I can already see that is going to be absolutely gorgeous when I bring in my bounce surface on this side. I just want to have a look and see kind of if we can analyze the light a little bit. So I'll do a wide shot so we can see what's going on up in that corner. There we go. Lovely. So we've got a really large modifier. If you have, in this studio, we are blessed with very tall ceilings. If you have a lower ceiling, you're going to obviously have some of that light bouncing back from the top. But every studio is different. In my studio, my home studio in New York, I have 10.5-foot ceilings. We do get a little bit light bouncing off the top, but every situation is going to be different when you're trying this setup. But I just want to get you to understand, or get you to try this out where you're bouncing a light into the corner. If you have a small studio, we've done this also. You just bring it into a corner a little bit closer to the model, like you would probably end up about maybe even here. And actually, I want to try this. Maybe just like that, and we can have some of it bounce off the backdrop. We might get a little warm highlight, a light highlight. Let's see. Oh, that's kind of pretty also, right? So if we go wide here, that probably approximates something similar to what you'd have in a smaller space. So let's see how that feels when we bring in our V-flat into the same position as we had it before. And we're in this magic. Take a tiny step this way. Perfect. Yeah, let's just see. It's not exactly where it was before, but let's just see where it's at. So let's just see. Good. We probably need a little bit more bounce off back on her. Yeah, and I'm also seeing a line across the image right here where there's like a hard edge. So to analyze that, I'm just going to go and have a look and see what I can see if I go here. Ah, I see. So what I'm seeing as I go and have a look in that spot is, if you can see it in the camera, I'll show you, is I start to see the inside of the silver is what's just hitting and creating that little, no, we had like this, right? That little highlight, that little hard line. So I'm going to move my light back behind the backdrop because I don't think I want that hard line. It's coming off the edge of this silver. Just as soon as you go past and you start to see it, that's where that hard line is on the background. So going again to where my light is, if anything weird is happening, I just go and have a look. And immediately it becomes obvious what was happening. So I'll go back to where we were just before. Maybe I'll stick it back around here. At this point, it's still very unscientific. We're just going to have it bounce into this corner, trying to approximate the position of that other light. Then I'm going to analyze the fact that there wasn't really much bounce back on our subject. So I'm going to go where the bounce is, and I'm realizing, the way it's placed is not catching light from there. It's more catching light from here based on its angle. So I'm just going to adjust it a little bit, try to catch more of that light. And we'll do another test shot. Lovely. Good. So now I'm seeing that I probably need to, let me do one more. There we go. That's really, really beautiful. I had the camera set at f11 when I did the environment shot, so you could see what the light was doing. And when I photographed her, I just forgot to put it back at 5.6, which is my safe place. And when I take it at 5.6, it's just absolutely beautiful right away. Look what happens in the collarbones. Look at that beautiful highlight on her. What I want to do now, what we could do to get it to be a little bit more ethereal, I'm going to turn the light up just a touch. I'm going to do that from here. Let's go up half a stop. We're adding half a glass of water here. That's beautiful. Really nice. And because I've got a light which has a capability of going has double as much power output, I can theoretically shoot twice as fast at the same setting. But obviously it's going to be a little bit different because I'm shooting into that wall. The light has to travel and come back. But this is already so beautiful. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. I'm really wide. Jenna, this is going to be absolutely spectacular. And I've also got, we've got like a little veil kind of vibe going. Now that we have, oh, this is really lovely. What we could do is let's try with the other small V flat on the opposite side here that we had earlier and just see how that lifts things. But this is looking absolutely beautiful. There we go, we bring that in. Folding V flat with magnetic latches now. It's kind of neat. Small folds up, you can bring it in a car. Nice, that lifts just. So again, we always end up in a small space. Small. If you have less space, it can get smaller. You know, photography is the art of making any space feel small. But I mean, our footprint is not giant, and it's really beautiful. If I had to, I didn't have as much space to go further back as I am now. I could take the camera off the tripod, shoot a little wider angle, and get in closer. These are the compromises you might have to make if you don't necessarily have the space. And that's actually also a very nice shot. But this is just absolutely ethereal and beautiful. And if you're doing a travel job, you're going to a client's location, even if you're going to the prep area where the bride is getting ready, you could put up a backdrop, point just ahead with a reflector into the wall and get this set up by using maybe even like, you know, whatever you can find. If you bring a folding V-flat, you could go do this in your bridal prep area, get a really beautiful photograph with just a backdrop, a V-flat, and a light. So let's shoot this. We have a little moment, right, where we have a veil, like a bridal, because that's really going to show up. You can come ahead, go ahead, and Jess is going to style that for us. Why not? So that's really going to be, I mean, that's going to glow. I want to see that already. Okay, let me see. Oh, absolutely stunning. How couldn't get better than that? And it's so simple. We're still in the one light world. Now I'm getting excited. Okay, move this just a little bit, not for any lighting reason, but because it's in my frame. So, oops, I don't want that to fall over. All right. Beautiful. Yes, Jenna, absolutely getting the vibe. This is just so stunning. Okay, I could shoot this for 100 years. What I do want to try, though, is let's bring in our flag. Magnus, if you have it. Let's bring in our flag and just cut the hard part of the light. Let's see how that looks when she's just in the shade. There's a little area here where it's like folded over. I'll just fix it.
Thank you.
Perfect. Yes, lovely. And let's just see when we cut the hard part of the light. I want to see what only our bounce surfaces are doing. Very nice. That's also really beautiful. Let me get a shot. Let me get in close, and I'm going to just do a 3/4 here. Bring the hand in a little closer. Sorry. Yep. Beautiful. Magnus, just take it away. I want to do a comparison. Same pose, same pose. Bring closer the hand. There we go. There we go. Beautiful. So that's the difference between having the light cut the hard part of the light and having it showing. And I think we'll have it showing for this because that's really very ethereal. But there's also a beautiful moment in this world where that hard part of the light isn't on her. The other thing we can do, let's say if I take this shot, let me do another test shot, like that same little pose that we had, that was really nice. Perfect. Good. If I do that test shot and I'm feeling like, if I zoom in on here, okay, the tool is attaching straight to your nose, right? Yeah, so we have to get that off the nose. Maybe we can get your nose in one of those ruffles. It just requires a little bit of play, I think. Maybe we could make it more, Jess, if we could make it more come around the back and leave her face open. We don't go full veil with this. But let's say it was coming too much from the side, or we wanted it to come more from the side. I'm just going to move this so we can see that. This right now is pointing back here. The beautiful luxury with this is, again, it exists in 3 dimensions. I could just move it here. Let's have a look at how that bounce actually feels. And it's going to be more sidey, right? Yeah, that's coming more from the right side. It should feel on our model more like it's coming from the side. I'll also bring that V flat back in just to try, but that's also absolutely beautiful. Really nice when it just comes from the side, when the light comes from the side there. Yeah, Jenna, we're going to keep these poses very simple for now. Also, really lovely. Coming in over from the side. Oh my God, I'm just so happy with this. Or we could turn, I'm going to move this out of the way again. We could turn this so it was more coming, let's turn this, bring it up higher, more from behind, maybe even directly behind. And we have so much control by just changing that one light where it's pointing. Let's see how that feels when it's coming. Do me that same yeah. Lovely. So that has more of a feeling like it's coming from behind. So if I show you what that light is doing as I've moved it, see how it's coming more from behind her now, behind our subject? These little changes just give us different varieties. That's also incredibly beautiful. I don't think we could take a bad picture here. One of the other things I can do is, let's say I'm feeling like this is way too hard on a part of her. Like we're getting too much hard light. We've already softened it up by bringing it behind. I think we could find that middle ground where sort of at the beginning we were here. Maybe I'm just pointing it a little bit here. I've got a modifier that's probably about 9-10 feet right now. If I move this away from the wall, I'm just going to watch out for that line that we had on that backdrop. But as I move this away from the wall, this is going to spread out even further. And when it spreads out even further, it's going to bounce back much softer. And we'll see that in those highlights. Let's see how that feels. And then let's also take a picture of the environment to see how that change has affected us. Yeah, so it gets to be a much larger spread. And when we take the picture, you can see that those highlights start to get a little bit softer. And it's really, really lovely. It's not burnt out at all. So I'm going to go back to, I think, where we were at the beginning, because I quite like that. Right about here, point it about there, come a bit lower, and I'll bring that V flat back in, and that's what we'll shoot. But, you know, again, I'm going to put that modifier into place. I'm going to think about, where's the hard part of that light? In this case, we're already using our environment as a bounce surface. We're not even worrying about that central column of hard light. It's already bouncing once into this giant area. It's bouncing back into our bounce surfaces. We're picking it up a little bit. I've got a gap here just so I can actually shoot through it. And then if I want to analyze what's happening, if anything's going wrong, hey, why is it coming so much from the side? Why is the light wrapping around behind? Why is it on the, it's shining like a line on the backdrop? I just go over there and have a look. And then I can take a picture of that bounce surface. I'll do it with, I'll show you what the bounce surfaces are doing right now. Let's just have another look. I'm going to take a picture of this area. That tells me what the light is doing. Then I'm going to take a picture of the V flat here. That tells me what that side of the light is doing. And then I'll take a picture of this V-flat here. The camera cannot focus on just a blank V-flat. There we go. And those are all bouncing light back really beautifully. So between those three images, I can completely analyze what's happening and how this picture is built from its constituent parts. Really, really easy, and I can make those adjustments in our environment, and I've got something that is criminally simple. Criminally simple. And so simple. So let's shoot this. Yeah, different poses. Beautiful. Good. I'm not going to be silly. I'm going to rely on my lovely stylist, Jess, to come in and just zhuzh the veil up again. If I didn't have her, I would not feel ashamed of going in and saying, let's do this, let's do that. But I think we can get a little bit of, yeah, exactly, a little bit of, there we go. Yeah. Exactly. And it's not even about like, what's the right thing, what's the wrong thing, but let's try different things, you know? It's beautiful. That's great. Good. Let's shoot a little bit because this is, I can't fault this. Lovely. I could shoot. And by the way, this works for pretty much anybody, this setup. Beautiful. Yeah, just give me a little bit of, turn to the side a little bit more. Yes, profile. Beautiful. Let me see a little bit of the foot or like the leg out. Is there a slit? No, there's no slit. No, okay. But we could open up that detail a little bit, right? Yeah. Perfect. Lovely. Give me like a little looking profile. Yeah. Good. Can you grab that veil and just pretend you're putting it over yourself? Yeah. Yeah. Good. And even so, I'm using quite a lot of power in that light, so it's not having time to refresh every single time, but that's a sacrifice I'm willing to make. Hard drives are not the most expensive thing that you're going to deal with. I would rather be taking these images that if I put them in my portfolio, I will get brides knocking down my door than worrying about the fact that I'm taking a few frames where the flash didn't fire. I think the trade-off is the right one. Jess, please come in, and she's wants to fix something. Yes, beautiful. Oh. Yeah, go for it. She asked if the veil should come off so she can hold it. Perfect. Yeah, lovely. Good. Let's just shoot a few more frames, and then I'm not going to bore you with a long shoot here, but the point of this is I just want you to see a little variety on how pretty this is. I'm going to also take the camera off, take a few frames, just a little closer moment. Yeah, eyes directly at camera, please. Give me a little bit of shape in the arms. Yeah, beautiful. Good. Yeah, maybe like a demure moment. Yeah, beautiful right there. And that lighting just looks so soft, so beautiful, backlit, and amazing. Good. Beautiful. So, if I want you to remember, the principle of this is incredibly simple. We're taking a light, we're bouncing it into the corner. If you don't have the perfect white walls, or you have cinder block or gray, or an off-white, you will not have too much of a hard time with this. Bounce a light into the corner. Analyze by taking a picture of the light bouncing in the corner. What's happening? Start to get an idea. Go where the model is and just envision. Once you've taken that picture, you can see, I can see it's bouncing off here, it's bouncing off there, it's coming back around. Most of it is actually here, so I'm going to try to get the V-flat and to bounce it in here as much as possible. Just so you know, if you have a white wall behind you, right here, and you're in a small space, you don't even need the V-flats. This is where we kind of combine the idea of a small space. I'm having to create it. It's actually not a benefit to me, the fact that right here there isn't a white wall, because I would get it to be even softer. And this, if you can set it up in your kitchen, in your garage, in your studio, wherever you shoot, even in your bedroom, you know, if that's where you're starting out, try something soft and ethereal where the light's coming from behind with one light. If you don't have as much of a powerful light, you might have to do your ambient light test in a different way. Let's say you set up your camera at f2.8 because you just can't get enough light, out of the flash that you do have, that's totally fine. You just need to do your ambient light test by taking a picture without the trigger attached and seeing, is there too much light coming in? You might need to close the blinds. You might need to turn off a light. You might need to have just a little bit of light so that your camera can focus, and then you can shoot this. But you want to make sure that your ambient light test is passed before you do any of this. You don't need the most powerful lights. If you don't have them, I'm not at full power on this light. I could double the amount of power still, but I would have to halve the shooting speed based on how long it takes for the pack to refresh and recharge. So these are the compromises you have to make. Look, if you can take one picture a minute because your light is slow or whatever you have, or you have to like black out all the curtains, do it. Figure out how to get just a couple of shots that have this beautiful ethereal feeling, and you will get clients. Beautiful work, more than any other marketing action, is how photographers can get more work. And as soon as you do that with the equipment you have, then you can invest in better equipment. That's how I've done it, and that's what I would recommend for anyone else. But do the things you need to do to set up to get ethereal work like this. I think the backlight setup is the most marketable setup that I've ever worked with. It's one light, you don't even need a modifier, and it's so absolutely simple. Try this out in your space. I have various places online where I support photographers, and find those. We'll link whatever the current one is, but I would love to see the trials that you have with this, the images that you take, and help you get this right. Because when you do, the work will be stunning.